Hey, what is up, everybody? I am here to give you a video outside. I'm on my deck right now. I don't even think I've ever done a video on my deck, so this is like a first time. So this is like a kind of special video. Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome stuff. Um, the reason I'm out here though is because I need Wi-Fi and I can't get it in my room. The only place I can really get it is the living room and that spare room that I've done videos in before. I didn't. They're not very many, and I wanted to but my dad's like in the living room, and the spare room is like a mess. So this is like the best place I can do it where it's clean, and even though it's outside, um, and it's also the best place I can do it where my dad can't interrupt. I can do it in the kitchen too, but like the same thing. My dad and the living room and the kitchen very close. Um, anyhow, I'm here to give you a video today about talking about Daniel Bryan. Now, down below, I want to talk about how WWE did a nice little tribute to Daniel Bryan, I think. Because as everybody knows, on Monday, I keep thinking it's Friday, by the way. Well, wait, I keep thinking it's Saturday, actually. Does anyone else think it's Saturday? I think the pay-per-view's tomorrow. I don't know why. But anyhow, on Monday, Daniel Bryan, had to relinquish the Intercontinental Championship because of an injury. Because they're not sure whether or not Daniel Bryan's even going to be able to come back and compete in the ring. And I think it sucks. You know, Daniel Bryan is one of my favorite wrestlers. I would say, right now, he's in the top 10. I haven't really gone through and made a list of the top 10, which I probably have to do again very soon. I have to update my list, in the videos. I'll do that probably tomorrow. But as with Daniel Bryan, um, it sucks. You know, Daniel Bryan, I feel like, is a guy that busted his ass to get where he's at. He busted his ass on the indies. He busted his ass within the company. He had to deal with the fact that Vince McMahon probably didn't like him. He didn't have the right look. He's had to come through adversity. And I think it sucks for Daniel Bryan. I really, truly do. Daniel Bryan is really good in the ring. I think he's pretty good on the mic. I think he has that charisma that everybody wants. I think he definitely gets a fan reaction. He probably gets the biggest fan reaction on the show. Everybody loves Daniel Bryan, and I think it sucks that Daniel Bryan had to might not even be able to wrestle anymore. It just sucks for him, you know. But they did do a tribute. I was on the network. No, I wasn't on the. I was on WWE.com, and I went on the app because I wanted to watch something on my phone on the network because you can't get the network apparently to work on your laptop, which I think is stupid because if they've been doing this shit for a year and I can't even get it to fucking work on my laptop, then that's a problem. Um, but yeah, WWE I feel is but Daniel Bryan I feel like does have it, and I think it's cool that WWE played a nice little tribute for him. They posted on WWE.com 15 of his greatest matches, and they did some stuff on the app called like awesome moments of Daniel Bryan that people forget, which I didn't forget about any of these moments. I don't really think many people did. There's one I didn't know about, but other than that, you know. So I figured I'd do like a little bit of a tribute video for Daniel Bryan. I talk about what they did, and I'm going to talk about maybe some of my favorite moments of Daniel Bryan at the end of the video. But let's kick it right into it. So I'm going to start with the 15, well, with Daniel Bryan's 15 greatest matches. So I'm just going to kind of go off here. Now, some of these matches, by the way, I went back and watched them, but I didn't, I'm not going to review. That's probably going to be most of them. The reason why is because I already reviewed them in the past, and I didn't see it, so I don't really think I need to do it again. And I will tell you the video to go find, though, when it's time, so you can see my thoughts on it. It's going to be very dated, obviously, because I made the video like when the match actually happened. So, I just want to mention that. But yeah, that's overall what I have to say. So let's just kick it into high gear, I guess. All right. So Daniel Bryan, his first. So the 15 greatest Daniel Bryan moments. The first one that it shows here is his match with John Cena for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam 2013. Um, I already reviewed this match. It's on, if you go on the CM Brothers channel, it's on the WWE SummerSlam 2013 review, and you can check it out there. And I will post the link in the annotations up there, so you guys can go on it. But if you just type in CM Brothers, you should be able to find it. But yeah, Daniel Bryan. The one thing that I didn't say in that video that I want to say here is that Daniel Bryan, this proves that they really started to build Daniel Bryan up as a big threat, because Daniel Bryan beat John fucking Cena clean in the middle of the ring. It wasn't like any bullshit like normal people do. Nobody interfered, nothing. The only thing you could really say that was complete BS is the fact that that John Cena was injured in the match. But other than that, I think that was still planned anyways. So I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna take it though. I'm gonna take this as a clean win, because Daniel Bryan beat John Cena clean in the middle of the ring, and I think that's really awesome stuff. Um, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's the first one though. The next one is his match against Randy Orton, and it was a WWE app vote street fight, and it happened on Raw, January 24th, 2013. Now you can check out my actual thoughts on that match, because I did post I talked about it in my review that week, so I'm just not really going to go into much detail. I'm just going to move on. The next one he has is his match against CM Punk for the WWE Championship, and it happened at Over the Limit 2012. I already posted up my review of that match. I did a video itself talking about the match, so yeah, you can just check it out there. Maybe I'll post it in the annotations right here. Now this match is actually a match that isn't even from the WWE. It's Daniel Bryan, and at the time before Daniel Bryan entered the WWE, he wrestled under the name Bryan Danielson, and he wrestled Takashi Morishima. I don't really know how to say Morishima. I don't know how to say his last name, but it's Takashi Morishima. That's the best way I can say it. And it was a fight without honor match, and it happened in Ring of Honor Final Battle 2008. Now, I didn't get to watch this match because I tried to find it on YouTube. I tried to find it on Google Videos. I tried to go on some other things to find it, and I couldn't find it. So I'm just gonna read what the like article down below, just so I can give my thoughts on it, I guess. That's like the best way I can really do it. So I'm just gonna see. So this is what the WWE said. This is what they said. A perfect example of bitter rivals coming to a brutal endgame. The bout was one of the best mixes of hardcore, technical, and Japanese strong-style competition that sports entertainment has ever produced. Notice how it doesn't say wrestling, it says sports entertainment. But anyhow, the two warriors pulling each other by chain off aprons and turnbuckles. Bryan hitting a man nearly twice his height with a German suplex and the vicious chain-wrapped elbows to Morishima, followed by a cattle mutilation, I think that's how you say that word, for the win. Moments that are forever etched in anyone who was lucky enough, myself included, that's what it says in parentheses, to be in the crowd that night. The match's stipulation meant anything was legal, and Bryan used it to showcase his ability to go extreme and never say die. It was apparent the instant it was over that Ring of Honor couldn't contain this man, and Daniel Bryan would one day take WWE by storm. And the person that was actually talking about this was Mike Murphy, so I want to mention that. And now this is Daniel Bryan's thoughts to the match. This is where you're going to start hearing the word aggregate. 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 I think that's how you say that word. I have no clue. I'm picking this match, but it's really an aggregate of matches I had against Morishima. The match at Final Battle 2008 was nearly a year and a half in the making. It's called a Fight Without Honor in Ring of Honor, which was essentially our street fight. It's something I was proud of because we were the main event of that show in New York City, and we sold out the Manhattan Center of 2,500 people without any television because that was before Ring of Honor had TV. So that's probably why I couldn't find this match anywhere. That to me was really cool and special and shows just how into the product the fans were at the time. And that's all I have to say. That's all that is really needs to be said there, I guess, because I can't really give my opinion on it because I didn't see the match or anything like that. So the next match is his match against Seth Rollins, and it was in a WWE app vote match, and it happened on Raw, June 10th, 2013. And if you want to check out my thoughts on that match, you can check out my review of that Raw that week. The next match is Daniel Bryan does his match against Antonio Cesaro, and this happened on Raw, July 22nd, 2013. And if you want to check out my review, check out my review of Raw that week. It's 2 parts. Check out part 2 because I had a copyright strikes at the time, and I only could make 2 parts. This match is his match against Nigel McGuinness, I think is how you say his name. It happened at Ring of Honor Unified 2006. I didn't get to watch the match itself, but I got to watch highlights that somebody posted on YouTube, which I'll post in the annotations down there. And this was actually, it looks like it's a good match. The thing that made the match really good was the music in the video, not gonna lie. That's just what I liked about the YouTube videos that makes these highlights, is sometimes the song really works within the match. So it was this case here. It was for this match and another match I watched on it. And some spots I liked was the uppercuts they were hitting on each other. Daniel Bryan kept using this arm submission hold that he would use on McGuinness. And Daniel Bryan drop kicked McGuinness over the ropes, and then he hit a springboard dive right into the right into the fans, which was really cool. It was like over the guardrail, and I'm like, why doesn't he do that nowadays in WWE? Well, the reason probably is because the barricade's too big for him to do that. And McGuinness just started working Daniel Bryan over. He threw him shoulder first into the ring post a ton of times. And then Bryan, who was still wrestling under the name Bryan Danielson, by the way, threw McGuinness head first into the steel post, bust him open, and eventually the match ends with Bryan hitting just elbow after elbow after elbow on McGuinness, and McGuinness wasn't able to continue. And they unified 2 belts, the Ring of Honor belt and some other belt, but I'm not really sure what that was. But now, since I actually didn't see the match, and I don't know a lot about it, I'm just going to read the article down below and just see if I can educate myself and some of you other fans. So this is what they said. In every competitor's career, there are bouts that change them. Sometimes physically, sometimes mentally, sometimes both. For Daniel Bryan, it took a trip across the pond to Liverpool, England, to learn a valuable lesson of what going too far truly means. The match had tremendous implications, as the winner would unify Ring of Honor's 2 most significant singles championship, Bryan's ROH World title and Nigel McGuinness' ROH Pure title. The American Dragon, caught up in the moment, seemed determined to leave his opponent, then considered one of the world's best in a messy heap. The Englishman had his hometown country's support, despite Bryan mounting a relentless, vicious beating. Bryan's victory foreshadowed his hoisting up the WWE World Heavyweight Championship belts at WrestleMania 30, but the conquest ultimately provided an education in limits and the genuine dangers of ring battle, and this was said by Zach Linder. And this, so I thought, so pretty good stuff right there. Now this is Bryan's thoughts. Again, I picked this match. I picked this one, but there was a whole slew of matches with Nigel that I could have picked. This one in particular was memorable because we were in England. Nigel is English, and the crowd was just going crazy for him. They hated me. He was bleeding. The emotion was running high. It was a really cool match. That's what Bryan said, and I guess I can agree there. So that kind of helps me educate, I guess. So I guess Bryan was a heel in the match. Nigel McGuinness was a face. I thought that was pretty cool stuff. Next one is his match against Kenta, who is now known as NXT as Hideo Itami. And then happened at Ring of Honor Glory by Honor in 2006. There was some stuff I remembered in this match, like Bryan doing that dive again. Kenta doing that drop kick that he does as his finisher now. Him doing the go to sleep. The roll-ups they did in this match, the submission. Bryan ended up winning with some sort of submission move that he does do now that as like a regular move. I thought that was pretty cool stuff, and I thought that was cool. But I thought that was pretty cool stuff. But now let's talk about. I'm just gonna read the stuff down below and talk about what they said, and then what Daniel Bryan said. So this is what they said. In the final months of his 462-day reign as Ring of Honor champion, Daniel Bryan defended his title in New York City's Manhattan Center against a Japanese sensation who would later emerge in WWE NXT as Hideo Itami, then billing himself with the stylish handle of Kenta. The pro wrestling Noah standout possessed a style that was extraordinarily similar to Bryan's. Both favored heavy strike, wrench and submissions, and an unmistakable arrogance, and the resultant battle became one of the American Dragon's defining belts as champion. In a match that Stone Cold Steve Austin may have described as snug, Bryan and Kenta exchanged blistering kicks that seemed capable of shattering bone. At one point, the champion became so frustrated with the challenger's constant boots that he began throwing careless headbutts that cautioned his own well-being. Despite his recklessness, Bryan ultimately locked Itami in his cattle mutilation, which I just talked about, submission hold. After countless attempts to secure the victory, it was ugly, but the war instilled a respect in both men that persists to this day. And this was said by Ryan Murphy, and this is what Daniel Bryan say. I just separated my shoulder and tore a couple of tendons maybe 3 weeks before going into the Manhattan Center again in New York City. The emotion was very, very high. Everybody knew I was hurt, and Kenta just kept kicking the crap out of my arm. My sister was in the crowd, and she actually cried. I consider wrestling an art. You want people to be entertained. If you can make them laugh, but when you really get them, you make them cry. And that was one of those matches that was able to do that. So I thought that was kind of an interesting fact right there, that his own sister was crying in the match. So I think that's pretty cool. Now this match I am going to cover. This match I am going to do a review of. It's his match against William Regal when it happened on WWE Superstars. No, it happened at... Okay, let me say it again. So the match is Daniel Bryan versus William Regal. It happened at WWE Superstars on November 11th, 2011. This was in England, so it was in William Regal's hometown. William Regal was really going in as a face. And the match was hyped up as... William Regal was Daniel Bryan's mentor. He was his trainer. He helped Daniel Bryan train to get in the WWE, and that's how it was built as, and I really thought that was cool. And when William Regal came out, they played some sort of music, some England music, which I thought was cool. And at the time, Daniel Bryan was holding this was in 2011, so Daniel Bryan was holding the Money in the Bank contract so he could get a future World Heavyweight Championship match whenever he wanted to. It was for the SmackDown briefcase, and I thought that was cool. This was a really good match. They started really good with some chain wrestling. Daniel Bryan went for a drop kick on William Regal, but Regal knows Bryan so well that Bryan couldn't hit the move, which I thought was cool. And Daniel Bryan hit a wicked knee right off the apron onto William Regal, which I thought was cool. And Daniel Bryan, what else happened? Daniel Bryan started targeting the leg of William Regal, and it really looked sick that he was doing that. He really would bend Regal's leg back. He would do half Boston crabs with it. It really looked cool. William Regal hit a Northern Lights suplex right onto Daniel Bryan. He dropped him right on his head, which was cool. Daniel Bryan targeted Regal's leg into the steel post. William Regal tried to mount some offense, but then eventually Bryan hit a kick to the head. And then even the uppercuts they were doing in the match, too, I gotta mention, too, was really cool. But then eventually Daniel Bryan hit a kick to the head and got him in at the time. The submission hold is called the label lock, now known as the yes lock, on Regal. Regal just tapped out right away. The only gripe I have is I don't think he should have tapped out right away. I think Regal should have tried to fight out of it, but other than that, I thought it was a really solid match. And afterwards, William Regal shook his hand and raised Bryan's hand afterwards as a show of respect. But I thought it was really good stuff. William Regal, I feel like, is a really underrated wrestler, and it was really good stuff. I thought it was awesome. So now let me just move. Now I'll move on to the next match. The match is when he was tag teaming with Kane. It was Bryan and Kane, known as Team Hell No, and Ryback versus The Shield, which is Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. And this match was a tables, ladders, and chairs match, a TLC match. And it happened at WWE TLC 2012. If you want to check out my review of that match, check out my TLC 2012 review. But other than that, I don't really have anything else to say. So now we have a little bit of a rematch. It's Team Hell No and The Undertaker, which I don't really like to call them that because Undertaker and Kane are called the Brothers of Destruction. Daniel Bryan and Kane are called Team Hell No. So I like to call them the Brothers of Hell because I think that makes sense. And they went up against The Shield, and it happened on Raw on April 22nd, 2013. If you want to check out my review, my thoughts on that match, check out my Raw review for that week. So I'm going to move on to the next match now. This match is Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the World Heavyweight Championship, and it happened in Extreme Rules 2012. If you want to check out my thoughts on that match, check out my Extreme Rules 2012 review. Moving on. Daniel Bryan versus Triple H at WrestleMania 30. If you want to check out my thoughts on that match, check out my WrestleMania 30 review. Next one is Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan versus Batista for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in a triple threat match. And this match also happened at WrestleMania 30. And if you want to check out my thoughts on that match, you can also check out my WrestleMania 30 review. Now, this match I can't really review because I could not find this match anywhere. YouTube and Google had no clue what I was talking about when I typed this match in, so I'm just going to say what it is. It's Robbie Brookside versus Daniel Bryan, and it's for the EIP Intercontinental Championship, and it happened at EIP Guild Wrestling Festival 2003, and it says Tag 3. I don't know why it says that, but it does. Yeah, I really don't have anything else to really say right there. I'm just going to kind of read off and read what Bryan said. This is what Bryan said. A match that nobody will ever be able to see, but was one of my favorite matches I've ever done. No, hold on. I botched. So, this is what Bryan said. A match that nobody will ever be able to see, but was one of my favorite matches I've ever done, was against Robbie Brooks' side, who's a trainer now down in NXT. In 2003 in Germany. In Germany, they had these tournaments that would go on for weeks. And Robbie had talked to the promoter. He was the champion at the time, he said. I'd like to bring Bryan in for just one match, just a title match. And the guy went, I don't know, he's small. And Robbie said, no, he's really good. Really good. They do round systems in Germany, so we went out there, and I want to say it was a match that was 10 rounds. Edited note closed, Brookside retained in round 9. That's what it says. And after the match, the promoter went up to Robbie and said, you were right, this guy was great. It was just one of those things where Robbie Brookside helped me train me. He helped me be the wrestler that I am today. it's also one of those moments where people don't think you can do it. And then you come in and the promoter was like, "Holy cow, he is what you said he was." And that was really good. So that was what Daniel Bryan's thoughts were, and I guess I have to say that I'm happy that Robbie Brookside gave Daniel Bryan that opportunity, because it really gives me a lot of respect, and I'm happy about that. So that's all I have to say there. So those are all the matches. I'll post a link in the description box of this list. I probably have done it before, and yeah, I'll do that. So now that I'm done with that, now I have to do. I'm gonna talk about the ones that they did on the app. Um, it's called. Hold on, let me get it. Um, it's called Awesome Daniel Bryan Moments You Forgot. Let me just go back. Alright, so these are the stuff that you probably forgot. Now I'm just gonna read them off, and if I've already covered them, I'll tell you, and I'll tell you go on that video like I said before. And I didn't forget about these moments, by the way. We had Kane and Daniel Bryan versus Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow, and this happened on SmackDown, September 21st, 2012. If you want to check out my review of that match, check out the video. Check out the review of that SmackDown on this channel. I'm moving on. This one I can talk about. It's Dolph Ziggler was just doing an in-ring segment. This was in 2010. This segment happened. Let me see if it tells you. It doesn't tell you, but it happened in 2010. And Dolph Ziggler was talking about how he's the greatest champion of all time. And he's just talking about how he was all that. This was at the time when he was aligned with Vicky Guerrero. He was a heel, and this was during his first reign as Intercontinental Champion. And then Daniel Bryan came out, who had just debuted earlier that year for the WWE on NXT. And Daniel Bryan came out, and he was the United States champion at the time. And at the time, Raw and SmackDown were the split shows. And Daniel Bryan says that he may not be the most handsome man, but I definitely can get a better girl than Vicky Guerrero, which I thought was funny. And Daniel Bryan said that he knows he can make Dolph Ziggler tap out, so he challenges him to a match at Bragging Rights. And at the time, like I said, Raw and SmackDown was split, and they were having like a little war. So this was going to be like Intercontinental Champion from SmackDown, SmackDown's mid-card champion versus Raw's mid-card champion, the United States champion, Daniel Bryan, which I thought was cool. Daniel Bryan accepted, and he's like, why wait until Bragging Rights? And he slaps Ziggler slaps Bryan. And then Bryan goes to attack him, but Dolph Ziggler's right there. But Vicky Guerrero stands in front of him. And then Daniel Bryan tackles Dolph Ziggler right out of the ring, attacks him, beats the crap out of him, and then he gets him in the LaBelle lock at the time, and Ziggler's tapping out. And then all the divas, the face divas at the time came out: Eve Torres, Nikki and Brie, the Bella Twins, Kelly, Gail Kim, Melina, and I think that might be it. They all come out, and they dump glitter on Vicky Guerrero. That was lame. And then, so Vicky Guerrero walks away, and then Daniel Bryan dances with the divas, which I thought was pretty cool. And but the stuff with Ziggler and Bryan was good. The stuff afterwards wasn't very good, I guess. But now let's talk about that match. Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler. I don't even need to talk about the build-up because I just talked to you about it. This was really good. I don't think it was amazing, but I thought it was really good. It was a really good match. It really got me into it. Dolph Ziggler keeps getting out of the ring. And I forgot to mention on commentary for this match was Jerry the King Lawler, Matt Striker, and Michael Cole. And on commentary for the William Regal Daniel Bryan match, I didn't mention that, was Matt Striker and Josh Matthews. I figured I'd mention that, but Now back to the Ziggler-Bryan match. Ziggler tries to hide behind Vicky Guerrero so Bryan can't attack him, but then Bryan goes on the apron and he jumps right over Vicky Guerrero and knees Ziggler right in the face. I thought that was awesome. Um, and then Ziggler takes control. And then he then Bryan drop kicks Ziggler into the turnbuckle, and then Ziggler takes control. He hangs up Bryan on the ropes. Ziggler really just starts beating the crap out of Bryan. He hits a neck breaker. He hits an inverted body slam on him. Thought that was awesome. He hits a wicked elbow on him. Ziggler just really dominates Bryan for like a good portion of the match. And then Bryan starts to make a comeback. He hits like really awesome kicks. Like looks like he's gonna kick Dolph Ziggler's head off. And then Bryan hits a missile drop kick right onto Ziggler, which was cool. And then Ziggler hits a super kick on Bryan. Bryan kicks out of it. And then they both start going. Bryan hits a kick to the head on Ziggler. And then Ziggler kicked out of that. And then Ziggler tries to go off the top. Bryan tries to go off the top. Ziggler tries to go for a superplex, but Bryan gets out of it. Bryan tries to go for a back suplex off the turnbuckle. And then Ziggler counters and shifts his weight so that way he'll land on Bryan. And Ziggler tries to cover him, but Bryan kicks out. They start going off on each other. They both start exchanging fists, roll-ups, and then they both keep kicking out. Eventually, Ziggler hits the Faymaster. Bryan kicks out of that. And then Ziggler gets Bryan in the sleeper hold, but Bryan gets to the ropes. And Ziggler gets upset about this, so he tells Bryan that you don't deserve to be here. You're not in my league. And then Bryan gets him in the label lock. As Ziggler taps out, Bryan wins. So then Raw technically had beaten SmackDown there. And I thought that was just a really good match. It was pretty good stuff. And yeah, awesome. All right, so then they play this segment. Let me see if this tells me the date when it happened. No, it doesn't. But it happened on NXT, and this was when NXT was going on its downhill times. It happened in 2011. I know that. And Derek Bateman was Daniel Bryan's rookie at the time, and Daniel Bryan was his pro. And this was at the time when the Bella Twins storyline-wise were dating Daniel Bryan. And to be honest with you, the funny thing about that is I think that actually led to Brie Bella and Daniel Bryan starting to date. So technically, in a way, WWE helped Daniel Bryan get a wife, in a way. That's so funny. So I bet, like, Daniel Bryan gets upset when he doesn't get pushed. Like, let's just say this happens. And the company's like, well, don't be upset about your position because we helped you get a wife. I wonder if they think that, but I'm not sure. Anyhow, I don't know. This was kind of, like, goofy. They're all talking. They don't really like Derek Bateman that much. He's telling, like, really weird jokes. He texts Daniel Bryan really weird pickup lines. But they talk about... They like Daniel Bryan a lot. And then they start fighting with each other because apparently Bryan said that he texted Nikki Bella, but Nikki Bella claims that Brie deleted it off her phone. Maybe she did, so that way she could be the one that marries Daniel Bryan. And they get something on Derek Bateman's pants. He gets pissed. He tips the table over, walks off, and Bryan walks away. And Derek Bateman had handed Nikki some chains to cover the meal or something, which was really funny. So I guess this was pretty solid stuff here. So then we get another match. It was John Cena versus Daniel Bryan, and this happened at Velocity on February 8th, 2003. Now, what was really interesting about this was when both guys were just coming into the company, and what John Cena had just debuted in 2002, and he was really trying to get his character. This was when he had started the rap character. He was dressed up like an all backwards hat, throw-down shirt, yellow pants. I thought it was pretty good stuff. And Daniel Bryan didn't really get an entrance here. He wrestled as Bryan Danielson, and on commentary for this match too was Ernest the Cat Miller and Josh Matthews, which I thought was kind of Ernest the Cat Miller was kind of weird on commentary, but Josh Matthews was good as always. And this match wasn't long at all. It was just it was only like 4 minutes, but I thought it was decent stuff for 4 minutes. John Cena tries to pin Daniel Bryan, but Bryan's like lifting his legs so he can't pin him. And then Bryan hits a sick enziguri on Cena. And then John Cena wins with that comeback move that he does. It's like after he does the 2 shoulder blocks, and then he does that move to set up for the 5-knuckle shuffle. I don't actually know what it's called, but Cena wins with that. I thought it was pretty good stuff, I guess. Maybe it wasn't long, but I thought with the time they had, they showcased what they had. I think this was just kind of supposed to be like a squash match, really. So that way, to establish John Cena, because he was a heel at the time. And then, they showed that Daniel Bryan and Kane when they had to go to anger management classes. I really like watching those. They make me laugh. If you want to see my thoughts on it, go on my Raw review for August 27th, 2007. And then it shows that segment when Daniel Bryan came face to face with that goat, from with that goat. And the whole joke was that everyone thought he had a goat face, so that was the whole joke. If you want to see my thoughts on that, go on to my Tribute to the Troops 2012 review. Then it showed Dr. Shelby taking Kane and Daniel Bryan to that restaurant so they can work out the differences. I thought that was really funny. And then we got that showed an episode from the JBL and Cole show, JBL and Michael Cole, and it was episode 12, and it showed that episode. Actually, that looks like a pretty good show. I might check it out. Might start watching a crap load of episodes. Maybe I'll do like a review of it. Maybe, I don't know. I've always thought about watching it, but I just get busy with other things that I don't have time to watch it. But maybe I'll start watching it. It's actually not even the JBL and Cole show. It's called the JBL and Renee Young show now. So maybe that could be good. But anyhow, they show some stuff because WrestleMania 29 was that week. And this, by the way, this is from April 12th, 2013. I didn't mention that. And it showed them sitting down in Access. Michael Cole sitting down in like Triple H's chair, claiming he's the real king of kings. The Great Khali telling JBL that he's fired. Them not signing somebody's autographs. JBL chilling with 3MB, which had consisted of Jinder Mahal, Drew McIntyre, and Heath Slater. That's really about it. And then they were doing like the Superstar Search tournament. And then like the semifinals was Damian Sandow and Justin Gabriel. And Justin Gabriel advanced. And then Daniel Bryan and Yoshitatsu, when they did like a music segment, Yoshitatsu did one. I thought it was pretty good. But then Daniel Bryan does one with Kane. He was calling himself DBZ Bryan, I think. And Curly Kane, and he has Kane like play the music box, and the whole thing just tracks Kane, called that Kane smells, saying that when he wrestles it smells like he farted, saying that his glove stinks, that he hasn't washed that thing in years, and Kane gets pissed and chokes Bryan. Then Hornswoggle comes up and says, that's Kakechi-san. And then he starts sitting there, and then he attacks Hornswoggle, and I thought that was pretty good stuff. I thought it was really enjoyable. And then that was the end. So that's the WWE's tribute for Daniel Bryan. I thought I'd just come out here. I thought I'd just come on here and talk about it because I think it's pretty cool that they did do a tribute for Daniel Bryan. And I really do like Daniel Bryan. Some of my favorite moments of Daniel Bryan was his first match on NXT against Chris Jericho. Thought that was a really good match. I liked his big yes moment. I think they should have when he had the yes movement and all those fans came in and started doing the yes chant. That was awesome. When he beat Miz for the U.S. title. When the 18 seconds then, because everybody was reeling behind Daniel Bryan in that match with Sheamus, and then he just lost in 18 seconds, and everybody boycotted. No one talked until the Triple H. None of the fans reacted to anything until the Triple H Undertaker Hell in a Cell match. I thought that was awesome. His matches with CM Punk, not the feud, but his stuff. What else do I remember from Daniel Bryan? His match with Batista he had on Raw, like just before, while he was on NXT. I thought that was good stuff. I remember that match too. I thought it was really good. And what else did I think was good? When he won the title, obviously, which they talked about, when he won the IC title, I remember that moment. What else do I remember from Daniel Bryan? When he ran Raw, I don't think I'm gonna, just because it's so recent. when he spray painted Randy Orton's car. I thought that was good stuff. Other than that, I don't really think like there's a lot of memorable moments of Bryan. Maybe when he won the Money in the Bank ladder match. I thought it was really good stuff. But other than that, that's my video. You can click right there on the bottom to subscribe, and I'll be back to talk about it. Some more videos later on today.